Lonely Monk Productions. Welcome to Too Old, Too New, the music discovery podcast that brings you something old, something new, something Nate, something Bruce. I'm Nate Runkle, host of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. And with me, as always, is my good friend Bruce Warren from WXPN.
Howdy.
The premise of this show is simple. Each week we bring you two songs apiece. One new song that we believe is that has been metaphorically spinning our turntable platters, and one old song that we believe still absolutely matters. Damn it, I was on a streak.
You were on a 10 for 10 streak, actually.
That's
so
right.
That's okay, you know.
That's all right. Hey,
that's all right.
Even the strong fumble. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. It is election day here in America. That's when we are coming to you with some music, right? Because music it keeps us sane. So there you go.
We are at time of recording. We're about 2 hours and 40 minutes from the first polls closing. So could be exciting night. Could be an exciting week. Could be an exciting month.
Yes. It will be. Regardless of what happens, it will be, for sure.
That's exactly right. One of the things that I've been, this has been a long-going project. It started with Yo, That's My Jawn, but I've been trying to be more positive in life. Mm-hmm. I'm in my heart and in my soul, I am a Gen X cynic. I am just I don't trust anything, and I hate everything. And I've been trying to change that since the pandemic because I believe, I don't know if you're familiar with the actual concept of karma, right? But the actual concept of karma isn't if you do bad, bad happens to you. It's if you do bad, bad exists in the universe. And then it's like, I liken it to dog poop, all right? Like if your dog poops and you don't pick up the poop, right? You're not predetermined to step in it, but there's more poop for people to step in, and you might be one of them, all right? So that's the concept of karma. So I look at the internet the same way. Like I was trying to put as much positivity into the internet as I can because I feel like the more we engage and put out there that's complete shit, the more dog poop there is to step in. This is a long way to go around to get to my pick for something old. Because I wanted to stay on brand and I wanted to pick something tied to the election. And I understand and I recognize how challenging it is to stay positive. But I came back to this 2012 song by Brother Ali called Letter to My Countrymen. And it's kind of based on the same exact premise. And I'm going to hit a little bit of it right now. This is Letter to My Countrymen by Brother Ali.
Straight to his face, but lately I changed. Nowadays I embrace it all. Beautiful ideals and amazing flaws. Gotta care enough to give a testament about the deeply depressed mess we're in. It's home, so we better make the best of it. I wanna make this country what it says it is. Still dreaming the vividest living color. No matter how many times my love been smothered. Who's ever above us won't just let us suffer. All of this struggling gotta amount to something. This is a letter to my countrymen, especially those my age and younger than. We're up against an ugly trend.
I want to make this country what it says it is. And like that's exactly how I feel about today, regardless of how things turn out. I feel positive, but regardless of how things turn out, it's not the end to me. And it's not over, and we continue to fight, and we continue to go on. And that's Brother Ali's Letter to My Countrymen.
And that's a very fantastic pick. Thank you for that. Absolutely. Absolutely good stuff.
It resonates just as strongly today as it did in 2012 when I first heard it. And damn, what a track.
Yeah. It's funny. Message songs, right, over the years, typically, you hear people do mixes and they make their Spotify playlists or their Apple playlists or their Tidal playlists or whatever. And there's not a lot of many good finds from the last 20 to 25 years, although there have been some amazing songs. And I would, I'm sort of new to this song, as I'm sure many people are, but like this is a pretty amazing song and definitely worth listening to the full song with the lyrics. All right.
Definitely.
So there you go.
And you point out something very important, which is I hear a lot of people saying there's no protest movement or music anymore. Where are the Bob Dylans? Where are the Phil Oaks of our time, right? And they're out there. It's just that music is so corporate driven that you're never going to find it, to be honest. Like it gets buried and it gets lost. And everybody's like, shut up and dribble. You know what I mean? So like, what are you going to do?
Although let me add, Beyonce sure has some shit to say. So there you go.
She has some shit
Absolutely.
to say.
Absolutely. Thumbs up.
What do you got?
Thumbs up.
What do you got for old this week?
I got a song that maybe some people know. It's called Democracy by Leonard Cohen. It's from his album called The Future. And simply put, so it was kind of written during the fall of the Berlin Wall in the 90s. But simply put, it is about the failings and the promise of democracy in these United States of America. And Leonard Cohen, legendary singer-songwriter. I don't need to tell probably many of you that, but maybe I do. Legendary singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen. Let's listen to a piece of it right now.
In the air, from those gnats in Tiananmen Square, it's coming from the feel that this ain't exactly real, or it's real, but it ain't exactly there. From the war against disorder, from the sirens night and day, from the fires of the homeless, from the ashes of the gay, democracy is coming to the USA.
Great song. Just absolutely brilliant song. Brilliant song.
It was next to impossible to try to find the 30 seconds I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I just gave up after a certain point.
For either of those two songs, Nate, I mean, they're both really important songs. Lyrically, they're just right on the money, right on point,
Yeah. The one thing from that song, and obviously these songs will both be up on the playlist, but the one thing from that Leonard Cohen track that always sticks with me, and I wrote it down just to remember, is the line, "Past the reefs of greed, through the squalls of hate," which, again, is one of those lines that, even though it was written decades ago, still rings supreme in my ears every time I hear it.
Yeah.
Do you know he wrote 80 verses for that song?
I kind of think I remember reading something like that at some point, but
it's insane. The man's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing shit. Pretty amazing shit.
It's wild. So, a little bit of levity. I do want to say thank you for pushing me over the edge last week when we talked on the show, because I finally submitted my ballot for the countdown for which you can still vote on until November 8th. If you hear this, don't forget xpn.org. Get your 10-song ballot in. I feel really strong about mine.
Yeah, well, that's good. We're looking for the the best songs of the last 25 years, and hopefully you can submit up to 10 and help us out. And I'm glad you finally made some final decisions.
There were some tough cuts. I got to tell you, pulling off the 10-minute version of All Too Well hurt, but it had to be done.
I hear you. I had to do the same. But it will more than likely show up. So
that's what I felt in my soul. I was like, you know what? It'll be there. I can take the hit this time.
Yeah.
How about some new stuff?
Let's do it.
Because we have some really interesting new stuff. I want you to go first because you picked up.
Okay. So thank you. Back in the 80s, the early 90s, there was this, I guess because of production values, there was like this like sophisticated pop. That's what I'll call it. Like bands like, artists like Seal, Roxy Music, Spandau Ballet, Simply Red, Prefab Sprout, one of my favorite bands. And if you're familiar with those records, you hear the sound in your head, leans into pop, little bit of rhythm stuff going on there. And it was intimate, but still very slickly produced. So I have a record, a new song by an artist named Fabiana Palladino called Drunk that I want to play, that I think falls squarely into this sort of sophistopop genre. Pop, R&B with some slick but intimate production. Now, Palladino may be a last name you're familiar with, because yes, her pop is Pino Palladino, a very legendary session musician and touring musician. He's played with everybody from The Who and Nine Inch Nails and Mayer to D'Angelo and Joan Armatrading. I want to throw Joan Armatrading in there because not many people know who she is. But Fabiana released an incredible solo album in April, and she just rolled out a new song called Drunk, and it is just simply gorgeous. And let's listen to a little bit of it right now.
Heavenly bodies and all these feelings under the influence of something I can't explain. Did I have to get so high? Are you taking us both for a ride? Don't need to be drunk to say what I want you to know. Old and outgrown, it's no fun on you.
It's a song that begs your patience, and the payoff is pretty strong. So that's new from Fabiana Palladino, and it's called Drunk.
It's incredible. I didn't know that she put that she had music out. I didn't know that Pino had a daughter that seemingly is just as talented as he is. I do have to tell one story tied to last episode, but the last time I saw The Who was the summer that Entwistle passed away. And they had to reschedule the show.
Right.
And it was one of the first dates after they started the tour back up. And Pino was filling in for John Entwistle.
Right.
And Pete goes around and he's introducing the band. And he introduced, I think it was Zach Starkey was on drums.
Right, right.
And he gets to Pino and he goes, and replacing another Who corpse. And I was like, Jesus Christ, it's still fresh. Yes, replacing another Who corpse. It's
Oh my
Pino
God.
Palladino. And I was just like, my God, sir.
Hey, I guess sense of humor sometimes, maybe.
Right.
I guess, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh man, what a guy. But yes, this I gotta check the rest of the album out because this is absolutely stellar and just hits that kind of perfect soulful vibe that I dig to sit with.
Yeah. And you, sir, have picked a doozy of a tune.
I certainly did. You know, leading into like this, first of all, this song has been, I've been obsessed with it since the first second I heard it because there's something I've found missing in music lately. And it really hit home as I was sitting in my car yesterday. Every once in a while, I like to listen to songs that are just ubiquitous and that like we all know and we all hear, but I like to crank it up and actually just sit with it and listen to it. And yesterday, I listened to what I think is arguably the greatest song ever written. Please don't kick me out of the club, all of my fellow Gen Xers and younger. But Thunder Road by Bruce Springsteen is without a doubt the greatest song ever written. I don't care what anybody says. It's just, the lyrics evoke such an incredible imagery. The music is stellar. There's movements. There's stuff. But the movements is what got me. Is like I'm sitting there listening to it. I'm like, man, songs don't have structure anymore. You know, it's usually the usual, you know, verse, bridge, chorus. Let's get out, right? But there's like this kind of thing that's been missing that like Billy Joel used to do huge. Jim Steinman used to do huge. Bruce obviously does. Yeah. You know, even he doesn't do it as much, you know? Yeah. Like it's a lost art. So this song fills that void for me. It is the newest song and the title track from the upcoming Art Deco album. It's Serene Demon, and another one that I had an impossible time trying to find a clip from. But here is a clip from Serene Demon by Art Deco. there's like 3 or 4 movements throughout the song. It ends, it shifts into like a disco vibe somewhere around like the 5-minute mark. Oh, that's right. It's 7 minutes and 23 seconds long. And it is an absolute opus, if you ask me. Like, this is like, I've been a fan of Art Deco. They were one of my favorite groups at Non-Com. What was that, 2 years ago?
2 years
2 or
ago.
3?
2 years ago. Yeah.
And so, like, you know, definitely was on my radar. But after this, man, the new album comes out in February 14th, a little Valentine's Day treat. I am, this is one of my most anticipated albums of 2025 so far.
That's great news. I have not heard this song in its entirety. We've been playing, I think, the first song. The XPN has been playing the first song for the record. Big fan in Dan Reed at XPN. He's been a big supporter. So he'll be happy that you made this selection today. But he probably doesn't listen to our podcast. So who the fuck cares? Just kidding.
You know what we should do is one of my favorite podcasts of all time was the Dan and Dan
the
Music
Dan and
Podcast.
Dan Music Podcast.
We should bring Dan and Dan on as a guest.
Let's book it. Let's get it. I'm sure they won't think twice about saying yes.
Heck yeah, let's make this happen.
All right.
I'm putting that
Okay.
out there.
All right.
You talk to your people. That's your people.
A reunion, a Dan and Dan Music Podcast reunion.
I'm in it.
All right, man. Well, listen, hey, I know we're wrapping up, but like, I know you got to get out of here because you have 2.5 hours or so to do the duty.
My civic duty.
Your civic duty. So there you go. Always a pleasure, as always.
Yes, my friend. And as always, you know, these songs will be updated on our playlist. You can also vote for your favorite song on Spotify through the app if you want to do that. So many people voted last week for our pal Sam Gongel's new track, Flash in the Pan. Shout out to Sam, who shared the episode in her story. Very cool. Of course, you can find us on the socials. I'm at Yo, That's My Jawn on everything. Bruce is at Some Velvet Blog on everything. Plus, you can hear Bruce every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WXPN 88.5 here in beautiful, sunny Philadelphia. And you can catch me on the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast regularly on Mondays. We have a new episode out right now with comedian and musician Dave Hill of the band Valley Lodge, who will be in town this Friday at Philomoka, November 8th. So they're there. He's there with Mikey Erg doing a solo show and the Blackburns. So that looks to be a killer show if you are looking for something to do in the area on Friday. But guys, we did it again. Bruce, thanks.
You're welcome there, Big Nate. I'll see you down the road.
Too Old, Too New with Nate and Bruce is a Lonely Monk production, produced and hosted by Nate Runkle and Bruce Warren. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on your podcast provider of choice. If you have any music you think we should hear, or if you would just like to reach out to us, please feel free to email us at tooldtoonewmusicpod@gmail.com. And as always, thanks, and we will catch you next time.